And I looked at my husband and he said, I would rather have you. But I did not realize that in that moment, I was attached to my breast.
Yeah.
Because it was a part of me. What's up, MJT fam? It's your girl Mikia coming back with another lit video, and I am back with Janika, Joyner. It is October, so I'm hoping by the time this uploads, it's still October when you get to see this video. We're going to be talking about domestic violence today. We're going to be, because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I think it is also heart disease. I mean, there's a lot of things that's covered in this month, and I know to all my faithful subscribers, you guys are used to the mukbangs and things like that, but there's so much going on in the world. We need to be able to shift and be able to kind of accommodate people that are looking for hope and people that are looking for answers. We're all going to eat, and some of us are not eating, okay? So if you're faithful to this channel, then you're going to understand why we have to switch it up a little bit. I promise you, I got something coming for you with a mukbang. Y'all are going to be ready. I'm going to be goofy as ever, but this month we have to talk. Janika was kind enough to come and visit with us, and we did mental health. We talked about that on our Facebook platform. It really got a lot of attention, just a small clip that we put up there. So if you have not seen our mental health discussion, I'm gonna go ahead and pop that down there for you. And I want you to go ahead and share it. I want you to go ahead and take a look at that. But I am going to go ahead and ask you to subscribe and to always hit that post notification bell so you know when I'm dropping the latest and greatest. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in. You guys know that Janika is the owner and CEO of Higher Elevation Psychosocial Services.
That's right.
I got it right. You know what I'm saying? I know what my sister is doing. And so today, you want to start out with what?
Well, a lot of awareness is happening in October.
Yeah.
We're still in the midst of a pandemic, so we have bullying prevention awareness.
Oh, yeah.
We have breast cancer awareness, and then people, domestic violence, of course. So all of the awarenesses, it still impacts mental health. How does a diagnosis of breast cancer impact your mental health? It does.
Yes.
Walking through that journey, and I haven't personally, is hard. You can share about your experience, but being a support and watching someone go through that, it does impact their mental health.
Okay.
Being a victim of bullying or domestic violence is going to impact your mental health. So all of this is related, and people don't want to talk about these things sometimes because it makes you look vulnerable or you feel weak, or you don't think anyone is going to understand.
Right.
But it's not okay to be quiet and to be silent. You have to talk to somebody. And I'm always going to advocate for therapy, and Mikia knows that. I'm a therapist. I talk about therapy all the time. I advocate for everyone having a therapist, and I understand that I'm not the therapist for everybody, but there are enough of us therapists out there that can help. So.
Okay, so you said something that makes a whole lot of sense to me, and I hope that you guys kind of caught that, because where there is awareness, there has to be support. Mm-hmm. Once we're aware of a situation, then there needs to be support. So just for me, 10/8/2015, I got that phone call from a coworker, one of the doctors, if you've read my bio, or if you visited my website, I'll drop it down there. You read a little bit about me. I am a registered nurse by profession. And he said, I hope you're sitting down. And he said, it's exactly what we feared that it would be. And I lost it. I completely lost it. I'm like, I don't smoke. I don't drink. What do you mean? I have breast cancer, right? And so 10/8/2015, I got that phone call and it crippled me instantly. So I was advocating and going to all the breast cancer support groups, and some of my friends who had survived breast cancer, they were coming over and they were in the midst of chemo. Now, my situation is not as bad as someone else's situation, okay? A lot of my friends have succumbed to cancer. Some have had to do chemo, radiation. My situation was totally different. Some have had double mastectomy. I've just had a friend who had double mastectomy not too long ago. And I opted for lumpectomy. Can you imagine the support you need when I went to oncology and he says, are you attached to your breast? As a woman, I'm thinking, you can never prepare for someone to say to you, I mean, I'm thinking now in that moment, I needed a therapist then. And I'm looking at Jose, I'm looking at my husband and I'm saying, how do I answer that? And I'm asking the oncologist, how do I answer that? He said, are you attached to your breast? Because if we get to that point, you just may have to make a decision, Mrs. Troche, whether to lose both breasts in order to save your life. And even talking about it, I can feel the tears welling up in my eyes. And I looked at my husband and he said, I would rather have you. But I did not realize that in that moment, I was attached to my breast.
Yeah.
Because it was a part of me. It was a part of me. I couldn't process it, Janika. I couldn't. And there's so many women and men, because men get breast cancer too.
It's true.
So when you're dealing with these type of illnesses and you're getting this news and awareness, you're like, you're still trying to process the diagnosis. And within days, someone's asking you to make a decision if you're attached to your breast or not.
Yeah, that's heavy. That is heavy. So the emotional toll that it's going to take on you and the mental toll that took on you, even though, 5 years ago, it's still painful to think about.
Yeah.
And the experience. And that's what people don't understand, is that was a traumatic experience for you.
Yeah.
So having that happen 5 years ago and talking about it today, it still impacts you, even though it's over.
Right.
You're still dealing with it.
Yeah.
You're still
and I didn't know that until we spoke about it.
Yep. And that's what happens. We don't know sometimes what we don't know, but traumatic experiences come up and manifest with a trigger or a thought. Every October, it just happens to be Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Absolutely.
You're going to be triggered. Every October the 8th, you're going to remember that phone call and then everything else that took place afterwards. So it's difficult when people feel they don't have that outlet. Or they don't have that support, or they're not connected to anybody. Because it is a lot to handle. Right. And women are being diagnosed younger and younger.
And I am a huge advocate. Go and get your mammograms, okay? Because, and I'm going to tell you this, one of my friends that was recently diagnosed with breast cancer had never had a mammogram, and well into her 40s, such as myself, well into her 40s, and never had a mammogram, and just so happened went to the doctor for one thing and discovered she had breast cancer. But instantly she realized she was not attached to her breast. They can go. She had breast cancer in one breast, but then when they did the surgery after, the pathology results show that there was breast cancer in the other breast. So if she had just chose to have a mastectomy in one breast, she would have been dealing with it later on anyway. And so mammograms are so important because, and people need to know this, before insurances used to say, oh no, you have to wait until this age. Right. But you do not. Check your insurance. We're giving you information. Check your insurance and get a mammogram. And I think what happens is that we look at social media and we know that it's a particular awareness month. We're hitting on breast cancer and we're going to shift here shortly. We're looking at breast cancer awareness month and we're like, man, that's really sad. I'm going to donate to the cause. But then you don't go
and do yours
and then get your own mammogram. No, donate to the cause, but then go make sure that you go get yourself checked out.
That's right.
And then in my situation, I think I probably should have, but instantly that same night, my home was filled with support. And I remember my bishop coming over and he just looked at me and he said, you shall live and not die. And from that moment, the fight was on. I was like, let's do this. Mm-hmm. So everything, if you're not we're not religious people, we're very spiritual, right?
That's right.
And I thank God that we made it through that. But I think maybe the support groups are great, but therapy is even better. Do your support groups because it's something that you can bring out of therapy into your support groups. You agree?
And that's another thing, because we have therapists who are survivors and who get it. Yes. Also, and I'll just share this because we're sharing resources. There is a therapist who shares her experiences with cancer and is Natty B After Cancer on YouTube, and she shares that as well, because sometimes people feel like you don't get it because you haven't experienced it.
Right.
And yes and no, I don't know the experience, but I know how to work with individuals who have had your experiences.
Right.
So I myself may not know, but trust me, there are therapists that do.
Right.
There are therapists who are not just 1 but 2-time cancer survivors out
Absolutely.
there. There are therapists who have been through things that some of us, haven't experienced.
Right.
And then some things that we have. So it's up to you. There are therapists who will say, yes, I specialize in helping people deal with X, Y, and Z or this type of cancer, or only therapists who deal with domestic violence survivors or
right.
those who've experienced trauma. That's where I come in. I deal with those who have experienced trauma, whether
right.
in childhood or as adults. But yes, those things are important because some things you may not get from a support group that you will get from your therapist as it relates to how you mentally fight it. And they say that's the biggest part of it is fighting fighting mentally.
Yeah.
Physically, you may feel weak, but it's when your mental is weak, that's where the light dims and you want to give up.
Yeah, because it's not the cancer that kills you. It's not the cancer that kills you. It's the depression and you just kind of throwing in the towel that kills you. Because once you give up all hope mm-hmm. and you're not willing to fight, that's it. So I think that was a really good topic. So it's Awareness Month, guys. Please go ahead, if you're enjoying this conversation with Janika and I, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm going to drop Janika's information in there in the description box, so you definitely don't have to worry about that because you will know how to get in contact with her. And as always, hit that post notification button so you know when I'm dropping what? The latest and greatest. All right. Earlier, you said bullying.
Yes.
Now, I want to know, I don't like bullies.
Me either.
So I'm going to let you take over on this because, this is when, I have to shift because, I'm trying not to get all emotional over our last conversation. So y'all know I have to do my little coping mechanism and shift. I don't like bullies, Janika.
Yeah. I don't like bullies either.
Is she laughing at us?
I don't know.
You laughing at us?
Maybe
No,
not.
maybe not. She's in school. Okay. So I don't like bullies. And I'm going to let you take this on because my history of handling bullies. And I want us to get positive feedback on here. And my Brooklyn days are well past me. I am such a professional now.
But she's wearing her black hoodie today, folks.
And I'm going to put my Jordans on later. You know, I do go from I do go from
real
stilettos and suits to a hoodie and some Jordans. That's what I'm going to let her. Huh?
And she's still fabulous.
Don't do that.
Still fabulous.
But if you do want a hoodie, I'm going to put that description in there. You know what I'm saying? The E.N.D.U.R.E apparel is dropping. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we all heard the phrase hurt people. And
yeah,
with bullies, especially with children and teenagers, we have to do our part because we say sticks and stones can break my bones, but words would never hurt me.
That's
so
a
not
lie.
true. Because people don't choose to die by suicide. And I'm not saying commit, I'm saying die by suicide. That's how we want to phrase it. They don't choose to do that because of physical issues. It's the emotional toil and the hurt that they're in from what was said. A lot of right now, all this cyberbullying, this picking, people screenshotting, taking videos, that is humiliating. And I say, you know, for the child or the teenager who is doing the bullying, I'm concerned about them because they're trying to project their feelings or what they're experiencing on someone else because they don't really want us to know what's going on with them. So I'm oftentimes concerned with the person doing the bullying as well as I am with the person who is being bullied. And sometimes it manifests and we see adults who are bullying and using power and using force and intimidation to get their way. And that's not healthy, it's not safe, it's not okay. So I question, you know, why are you doing this? What's going on? Do you not feel understood? Do you not feel heard? Some people don't have a voice at home, so when they go to school, when they go to work, when they're out in the community, they get to, you know, act out all of the frustration that they can't, or they feel like it's not appropriate to do at home.
Absolutely.
So they lash out, they put people off, they embarrass others because they're getting worse when they go home. And that's just something that is a cycle. So if we're not, I'm not saying, oh, don't worry about the victims or the person who's being bullied. No, we have to look at it all. I'm not looking to blame. I tell my clients all the time, we're looking to solve a problem. And the problem is hurt people need to stop hurting people and get healing for themselves so healed people can heal people.
Okay, so now with this being Bullying Prevention Month, the kids are online now. Okay, so that's going to be something that really needs to be monitored, right? Because the kids that were bullying are now still stuck in the home environment that caused them to bully. So if there was a teacher paying attention to these mannerisms and maybe was trying to pull them to the side and speak to a guidance counselor during school hours, if they're not a child that was sent back to school and maybe they're a child that's now doing virtual learning, what's the option?
Well, that's the thing, is that sometimes the peers become the support. And they're aware of it.
Okay.
Also because a teenager, a child, they're going to talk to their peers before they talk to a parent. Especially if the parent is the one that's inflicting a harm or, you know, emotional or physical abuse and or neglect. So they're going to reach out to each other, and it's hard to put that on another individual.
Got it.
But somebody is in that child's life, or should be, if it's a child, in their life, to know that they're not their norm or things aren't okay. And with the internet and with all of these chat groups, something's going to get picked up. I've had so many times families telling me that I had no idea my child was thinking about suicide. They told their friend told their parent called me. We walked in the room and caught them right before they were trying. So they're telling their peers. So it's educating our children to say, if a friend is telling you they're being hurt, if they say, please promise, don't tell anybody, please tell, because we can't help them. You can't get them to safety or get them what they need and keep them out of harm's way. That's a lot to put on another individual. So that's why I say to, teenagers, it doesn't matter how old you are, even younger kids in elementary school, if a peer of yours is saying, I'm being hurt, I'm being touched, I'm not being treated well, please let your parents know, because we can deal with it. We have to advocate. We have to be the voice for those who don't have the voice, and we have to, be there and step in for those who don't have the power to do so for themselves.
When I wrap my, cyberbullying and that's like a whole segment in itself. You know what I mean? Because it's so broad. Because then I start to think about, and that's kind of like our segue into domestic violence, because I start to think about children who are raised in homes of domestic violence, and then they act out what it is that they see at home, and they become the bullies. Well, I was raised in a home, and I'm no longer silent. I'm no longer silent about it. I'm not tippy-toeing no longer. Am I tippy-toeing around about what I went through as a child? Because you want to protect the family, and you want to protect this, or whatever the case is. But you know what I say? Screw that. You know why? Because when I needed protecting as a child, who was there? And then you got family members that know what's going on, and they're still silent. So at the end of the day, I turned my pain into purpose. Bottom line. So being raised in a home where there was domestic abuse, and it wasn't until I wrote my first book, I did not realize, when I was dealing with my writing mentor, she said to me, domestic abuse isn't just, and I was sharing this with Janika last night, because you always got to pray, plan, and prepare, okay? I said, I didn't know that domestic abuse wasn't just a man on a woman, a woman on a man, and then Janika brought a man on a man, or a woman on a woman if they're in a relationship. It is a child on its mother, a child on its father, vice versa. And that's all domestic violence. It's the instability of a family that have some violent stuff going on. And it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be any of those things. And I went through the physical, I went through the emotional, but I was not a bully. Now, Mikia, can I be transparent? I'm gonna get close.
Get close.
Thank you, boo. Sugar boo. I'm not gonna start nothing. You hear me? Not. But I will finish it. And that is as professional as I can be, because I'm a lady. Okay.
She's such a lady.
I am a lady.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start nothing. But I will, because I am saved. And I'm still a work in progress.
He's not done with us yet.
He is not done with me until I get my glorified body.
That's right.
But I'm not going to start nothing. But I shall finish it. That's in the 67th book, Mikia, chapter 1, verse 7.
Hoodalations.
Hoodalations.
Hoodalations. Yeah, I mean, but that people
I'm
don't.
being real.
You got to. People don't understand that for kids, that if you ask them, do you experience domestic violence at home, or is there any type of domestic violence? I'm thinking, like she said, it has to be a man and a woman. You have same-sex couples right now. You have children, adult children living with family members who are abusing drugs and or alcohol and become violent when they can't get money to get their fix. So you may have a grown uncle living in the house with a parent, and and younger children are being raised there, and he's choking grandma out because he wants money for his next fix. That's domestic violence.
The uncle is choking the grandmother?
Yeah. Because he wants his money.
Oh, they have to get her some mace.
And some grandmothers are not young, and some are, but still, it doesn't make it right.
See, domestic violence is so sensitive to me because I hurt for people. Yeah, I do. I genuinely hurt for people that I hear, and I am an advocate for any kind of domestic violence cause. I'm just so glad that I have this friendship, partnership, businessship with Janika, because she deals with trauma victims of all of what we've discussed. But when it comes to domestic violence, that is my number one heartstring puller, because you are so helpless in the moment. You don't know what to do. And, back in the day, all right, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Because my grandma's gone. Okay? Because, October 8th was my grandma's birthday. So I was diagnosed actually on my grandma's birthday. She's passed away a couple of years ago. But back in the day, you getting grits in your face, you getting lye, acid, whatever. Back in the day, women had to defend themselves. And I'm just going to leave it at that. My grandma...
TCG.
What's that?
Trained to go.
She was trained to go. That's all I'm going to say, because, I know she can be incriminated now because she's gone. But I'm just saying. But today... you could be beat up and battered, restraining orders and all this stuff. And then that one last moment, it's that fight or flight. And then you defend yourself, and now you're in cuffs.
Yep. Or worse.
Or dead.
In the body bag, yeah.
And I'm just trying to understand, what do we do? How do we protect the men that are abused, the children that are abused and sex trafficked and all these things? We're so busy debating over craziness and taking up TV time. Can we use the platform to talk about things that really matter, like domestic abuse? And is anybody talking about how we're gonna build shelters for women and children and men of domestic violence, and pour money into, agencies for people who can't afford services for therapy and things like that? We have to start talking about things that matter. And I thank God that even though I still have to push past my quit and push past my pain, that I'm productive. And that I chose not to be an abusive parent. I had to be stern with my oldest, because your kids will try to test you.
Oh yes.
But discipline and structure and abuse, that's two different things.
Yeah, and sometimes the lines get blurred on that. So in different states and jurisdictions, they have rules and parameters around what abuse is and what abuse is not. But this is the thing.
These kids these days think washing the dishes is abuse.
Right. If you're putting your hands on the child out of anger, that's you probably teetering on the abusive side.
Right.
You can't fight them like you would fight someone on the street. You can't ball up your fist to hit a child. You can't take your frustrations out on anyone in the house if you're upset with what happened at work and you didn't get a promotion, or someone called you out on something and you didn't handle it at work. you come home and then you talk about it and take it out on people whom you say that you love. Love does not hurt. Let's go ahead and put that out here right now.
That's
love
good.
Does not hurt.
Golden nugget.
So if you are experiencing being put down, ridiculed, belittled, threatened, and people use manipulated or guilt tripped into doing things out of love, that is not real love.
Right.
And think about your children who are witnessing these things. If you're an adult and have children, children deserve a happy, healthy, nurturing, safe environment.
That's
and
right.
if they are not seeing that, you are disrupting their childhood and any form of normative conditioning that they should have, because the formative years are so important in a child's life.
Right.
And they're going to grow up with having these adverse childhood experiences, or what's called an ACE, and have their own issues to process and deal with.
That's good.
Not alone if something were to happen to you and you do die. What then?
Right.
What then? Well, he only blacked my eye one time. One time is enough. If that individual does not get help, if that individual does not change, one time is enough. If you say, well, I'm going to just work it out, we're going to work it out. If you're not really working it out and it's still happening, then what has changed? Nothing changes if nothing changes. You don't deserve it. You don't have to go through it. It's not any type of love.
Right.
If you love yourself, you will understand
that
the toxicity that's attached to it, another person hitting you that loves you, is not healthy and it's not safe. I'm not going to call anything right or wrong.
That's right.
It's not healthy. It is not safe. And you were not created or designed to be anybody's punching bag.
Let me tell you, she dropped a nugget. I have to go, and that was deep.
It is what it is.
Because when you said love doesn't hurt, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. And we do understand, if you're watching this, I want you to know that we understand. There was like, well, you know what? You're not in my situation. And we understand that.
Right.
We're just saying, if you have an opportunity to run, then run. Because like Janika said, love doesn't hurt. And it shouldn't hurt.
It'll get worse.
It would.
Before it gets better.
Because
I've seen people talk about, you know, one day they found the Lord and then they changed, but they rode that wave of decades out of the abuse.
Right.
Do you have that in you? Because by that time, they've changed and you still harboring all this anger and frustration, don't want to be intimate with them, don't like them. The kids can't stand them because they're grown up now and your family isn't really cohesive.
Man, and there's so many levels of abuse, guys. But we're gonna leave you with that, because there's financial abuse too.
Oh, yeah.
Inside of the domestic abuse. Can you imagine? Not even, you know, well, here's your $7 for the week. $7 for the week.
Can't even buy your sanitary napkins or you know, your hygiene products because the money is being controlled. So we get that part too. There are people out here with nonprofit organizations that help people get sanitary napkins, women who need them, and they assist you with leaving. But you have to stop being afraid of what will happen, and you just have to get help. Help is out there, it's discreet. I understand you're used to somebody, you see the positives in them, but again, you don't want to be that person in the body bag or the person handcuffed because you snapped. Your children do not have to experience this. Your family is tired of you running and then going back, and then they have to deal with the person, and you're creating all of this, you know, this climate that's just not comfortable when they're around to visit. It's not worth it. You are.
Man. Well, you know what? I hope, Janika, as always, I always enjoy the wisdom, you know, even our conversations on the phone together, you know, they're a little bit more personal. Y'all can't be involved in those. Oh no, right? But I really, really just love when we get together, because I mean, this stuff is deep. I think we're gonna have to do like a round, you know, like a round table session. No, and our table not gonna be red.
Absolutely not.
And get some more people on this panel, and just kind of talk a little bit more about some relevant topics that are so relevant to what's going on today. So we definitely, I thank Janika for saying, you know, let's go ahead and touch on some of the things and the awarenesses that's going on in October. And I'm like, let's do it, right? So
and she almost forgot about it. She is me. Just keeping it real.
Yeah, she is her. So, and she said to me, make sure it goes on your calendar, because I'm putting it on my calendar right now. Now, my plate running over this week. And she was like, I was like, yeah, that's my sugar boo, right? But I love it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this conversation with us. We covered Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Make sure you get your mammograms. We covered bully prevention, okay? This is Bully Prevention Month. Make sure you talk to your parents. Make sure you look for parents. Make sure you look for those signs, and make sure you look for those symptoms of those children wanting to be alone, teens wanting to be alone, isolation, things like that. I'm not the therapist. Janika is, okay? But make sure you start looking for those signs. Again, I'm going to put Janika's information in the description box. Domestic violence, it is so broad. It's for men, it's for women, it's for children, it's for families, it's the uncle choking out the grandma. I mean, that one just blew me away. If she don't get an iron skillet under her nightgown, bop, get off of me. We have got to give all the tips to everybody, okay? But we hope that you have enjoyed our time. We're coming back with some more, I don't want to say, we're going to come back with some more heat for you guys, all right? Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. And always hit that post notification bell. As always, I love you guys, and I am out of here. XO, boom.